And so I posited and questioned, well, how can an individual empower themselves among institutions? And how can it be so broad of an answer, if you will, that it would work in 1984 or today, September 12th, 1984? And I came to the conclusion it's the First Amendment. And the First Amendment contains five, they're often referred to as the five freedoms, but it contains five distinct preventions on the Congress for making a law, but it's also five prescriptions for the individual to empower themselves. And so that's how I flip it in 1980 in my book, inspired by 1984, to counter the oligarchies, the oligarchical collectivism. Sorry?
What about that? What are the five?
The five are question. Well, actually, they're called the five freedoms, and you'll see them variously interpreted and presented. But essentially, they are question, communicate. Better the answer to the question through communication, and then speak out. That is through publication or through standing on a soapbox, and then stop, which is required before a protest, before a redress of grievances, right? A redress of grievances, peaceful pro-action amongst institutions is always concerning the stopping, whether it's stopping in the intersection and preventing traffic, or a sit-in, or like Occupy Wall Street, occupy the space, sit, stop, occupy. So the fourth is stop, and the fifth is take action. If these matters and pro-individual actions don't work, if the institutions still clamp down on individuals that are standing up for redress of grievances, then you act, which could be further boycott, further communication, all these individual empowering things that only individuals can do. And actually, if you read the First Amendment, applying it like Citizens United and various court decisions have done, applying the First Amendment, any of the five freedoms, to institutions, especially corporations, is totally against any sense of the Constitution.
I agree so much. It's so bizarre how now those corporations.
Yeah, and the people are essentially allowing it. And as we touched on last hour, there's three types of institutions. And the United States, as a government institution, was founded as the anti-oligarchy. The original oligarchical collectivism were some of these colonial superpowers, like the British East India Company, that arguably the Boston Tea Party was all about going against, which led to the flavor of the founding of this government. And so the United States was founded on anti-oligarchy and separation of church and state, but more importantly, as we're seeing now, as we're destroying the world for money, more importantly, separation of state and corporation. That's the three institutions that.
Well, that's key.
When they
that
link,
about. We're destroying the world for money, and what I get when we look at the extraterrestrial issue is that civilized, conscious civilizations and other planets, other cultures, do not operate on a system of money, and so we don't really know how. Since we don't have it, and we can't wrap our heads around it. We politically justifying the use of money, but money is the root of all evil, as we were warned, and it's truly the problem because it creates all these systems. The oligarchy is empowered and controlled because we're going to have the idea of where do we go in terms to play these social systems. It's fine to criticize and analyze and discuss endlessly, and what is the outcome of a more positive system for our society, our heads on.
Well, the way oligarchical collectivism is shaped is like a pyramid. And the way a culture or society would be shaped that progresses everyone, that is, doesn't bring us all down to the least common denominator, but brings us all up, would be circular, right, instead of pyramidal or triangular. So the idea there is, right now, it's normal for people to consider success is when you have so much more than you need. 5 times more than you need is success, right? 5 houses, 5 cars, 5 vacations a year. Success. Much more than I need. And that's actually kind of the opposite of what sensible is. Sensible would be you have what you need, and what you need, that's all you have. Why would you want more? But it's so ingrained for us to consider getting more than we need always that we'll run over and railroad and do whatever it takes, usually through the linking of corporation and nation, to come up or to keep our position in the pyramid.
That's because if you know what you need, when you need it, and so it's the artificial lack consciousness that keeps us going into we need to store and hoard because we're going to have a hard win or something's going to happen, so we won't have what we need when we need it down the line. It's thinking outside of the now into the future, and we might not have it. We need it now.
Yeah, and I like to call fear, which is basically what that stems from, false evidence appearing real. Mostly, we're afraid of conditions and things that we think could happen that never do, right? False evidence appearing real, FEAR. And so when we really take a step...
Like, oh, I'm afraid we have such a problem. Here comes the oligarchy. We got a solution. And this is
we're caught up, conditioned to be afraid, to where it's normal to be afraid, to where when we're not, we think something might be wrong. And so they always have something to sell us that'll quell our fears, though. No doubt about that.
Right.
And so that's why you keep for preparation. So you can see that when the Soviet Union fell apart, let's do the war on drugs, and when that wasn't getting enough traction, let's create this big thing on 911 so we can go bomb Iraq, because Iraq was going to kill is what Bush Jr. said.
Right, well, and I like to say that every war is a dance with lies, because every war needs a lie or a series of lies to convince the majority that it's actually okay to do or even right and good. I mean, it's kind of a common theme that they'll lie about being attacked to initiate or continue or expand a confrontation. And
it's
Vietnam,
incredibly bizarre how we could have killed thousands of our men and millions of South Sea Asians over.
Every war needs a patriot. They need the people to feel that they're doing it to protect their country, to protect their families, to protect. They need the warrior. They need the patriot.
You know, underneath all of that, people that go to war are signing up to kill people. And you can expect the individual soldier who pulls for a precious thought is murdering just as much as the Chinese up.
Yeah, and that's how they only will really take young people, but only young people will really do it, because anyone else with any sense about them knows better, and so we're really,
it's about young people that just go and they like to blow up and be blown up.
It's also a draft, which is a form of slavery.
Right. No.
We did nom and we get whenever, but they weren't at people's kids. No.
Look at now. We don't have a right.
When it's more dangerous to walk through the streets of East Los Angeles than it is to walk through Syria, then we've got a war going in the cities. Right.
So the local war, the war on whatever this is, the drug trafficking, the insanity in our own communities, the lack of jobs, the lack of education, is driving people to join us. They don't need the drug trafficking. They've got some carrot, this enticing carrot they're having, dangling, and people are rushing to sign up. They still work.
And I think too, the institutions know that how to play off of all the psychological tics and problems and syndromes and problem reaction solutions that we have embedded into us via religion, culture, and so forth. And so they take action on these basic instincts and have us commit atrocity. And we, really everyone seeks to live a long life and be immortal. It's in the back of our heads. And when you kill on behalf of an institution, whether it's the, armed forces, the French Foreign Legion, the Marines, or a caliphate, you are, falling into this psychological trap of seeking immortality through a nefarious institution. And that's a psychological tick in the back of a lot of these people's heads, I guarantee it. And these institutions play off it to get new enrollment because they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, but they're really just killing themselves.
Yeah, it is. When I lived in a little town called California, the judges would, whenever they would check a person with the kind of peggers that they wore and the haircut a certain way, he'd say, "You got your choice of jail, or you could join the army, and I won't put you in jail." So it's coming down to pretty much people are increasingly jailed to keep the prison system going, which is part of corporate institutions. It's still the same game, only on a larger scale that I saw in California.
Yeah, right. That's an interesting point. I wonder how many of those folks were given that option. And one thing is for sure I know, I don't know the statistics on that, but I do know that more foreigners are enlisting in order to gain citizenship.
Wow.
That's another G. We'll give you citizenship if you become part of our army. Wow.
Yeah, I think if they fight for 8 years or enlist for 8 years.
Amazing. Well, here you go.